It's almost like this unspoken rule that thrifty people, people into sustainability, resourceful people, love to hoard a glass jar. I mean, all sorts of jars of all materials, but specifically the glass ones because they're just too nice to be tossing. I used to have this series called Operation Jar Hoarder where I would do crazy things with my jar collection, trying to actually use them up so they weren't just sitting in a cabinet. Some of the things stuck, some of the things didn't, but today I wanted to walk you through 10 of my favorite ways to use my jars at home. If you're new here, hi, my name's Alyssa, and on this side of the internet, we talk about all things thrifting, sustainability, conscious consumption, community. So if that sounds like something you're into, stick around and subscribe or find me on all other social platforms. And before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to my Green Living Tracker. When we don't have a sponsor on this channel, I love talking about my digital products that help you all live a more sustainable lifestyle. The Green Living Tracker is a 100% customizable Notion template full of resources, reflection prompts, educational materials, and overall tools that I've actually used throughout my own sustainability journey, repackaged into one easy to access place to help kickstart your journey too. If you want to check it out, I'll leave the link down below. It's $5.99. And if you do take a look at it, I thank you so much for supporting this channel. Okay, let's get into it. Number one, we're starting off basic, but hear me out. It's using my jars as my iced coffee cups. Yes, I know using jars as cups is the most basic answer, but let me tell you, those shaken espressos, they taste so good. And as I'm still soaking up the last bits of summer, those shaken espressos are giving me those light, airy coffees, even if I decide to blend in some fall flavors. And they're so good for taking on the go because talk about a sealed top. I mean, you got a lid that perfectly fits on there. Or like me, you can even get little toppers for mason jars so that you can easily push in a straw. I've also seen people do this with those Parmesan cheese shakers because you can even put a straw into the side of it and everything. Number two is keeping them in every room that I have plants to kind of use them as like a water catcher. So anytime I have a glass of water that's sat overnight that I want to dump, I put it into that jar and it's kind of like a catch-all for this water I don't want to put down the drain that I can then use to water my plants. Okay, because I feel really bad that I will not drink water that sat overnight. I just feel like there's a layer of dust on it. Like that might not even be true at all. It's just like what my brain thinks of when I go to drink it. And I don't want to put it down the drain either. So it inevitably goes to my plants. Number three is cabinet organization. Okay, it's particularly nice in the bathroom whenever you're holding things like reusable cotton rounds or even makeup brushes. But I've also seen them been used for things like DIY Clorox wipes, which it's not really Clorox, but you know, just a disinfecting wipe. They're just great to have in cabinets to hold your little bits and bobs. And they're super nice because I can keep some of my smaller barware items in the cabinet with my drinkware, and it's taking up a more vertical amount of space rather than a large amount of surface area because I chose a basket or something. Number four is hydroponic gardens. Listen, save yourself a little bit of money. Don't buy the jar that comes with those hydroponic kits. You can buy ones that are a little bit cheaper and use your own. Okay, I have rosemary growing in my windowsill. I pay almost no attention to it. Hydroponic gardening is like the only gardening I can ever keep up with. Okay, I'm a houseplants and hydroponic person. I am super bad at taking the time to upkeep an outdoor garden, but just plopping one of those hydroponic kits into a jar on my windowsill, I can do that. Number five, keeping them to give away leftovers when I host gatherings. I am the hosting friend, okay? Anytime we have a party or anytime we have an idea of something we want to do, it typically happens at my house, which I absolutely love. However, whenever we make food at the house, with just two of us living here, I typically don't want all of the leftovers, and I will save jars and even takeout containers to give people food to take home with them so that I don't have to store all the leftovers away in my fridge. But when I keep these jars and I can put soup and other treats in them, I don't need that jar back from them. I can tell them to take it home and forget about it. They can reuse it themselves, they can recycle it, whatever they're gonna do. But I'm not giving up one of my nicer Tupperware containers, and this hack is game changer during the holidays. Number six, using jars for holiday decor. One way I plan to use some of mine is by making a little potion corner where I plan to fill a bunch of glass containers with bits and bobs from the outdoors and beyond. Like I want to fill one with marbles and one with those little gumballs from outside. Put some mysterious liquid in other bottles and then have a little sign saying it's my potion corner. But then for the holidays, two things I thought were really cool was using the lids of food jars and mason jars to make little ornament scenes, which I have seen some that are very cool looking making, and it's something I think I want to try this year. And the second one is people making little DIY snow globe scenes by just simply flipping the jar upside down. Number 7 is using my jars to meal prep, whether it's soup or a mason jar salad. They're great for portioning quick lunches and also just storing your food in general. Number 8 is using those jars at bulk refill shops. Our main one here in St. Louis is called Dharma and Dwell, and here you can buy most home and personal care products your heart desires as bulk refills. So when I typically go, I take a larger jar of my choosing and I'll fill it up with things like hand soap to refill my soap pumps over and over again. Or I've even taken little bitty jars just to test out some of their personal care products. Like I had this really tiny jar that I filled with just a little bit of their bubble bath because it was a new product and I wanted to try it out before I went buying a big jar of it. And remember, beyond personal care, you can do this at grocers as well. Just measure the weight of your jar, fill it with whatever goodies you want, and measure it again. Number 9 is using them to gift. Now, I think the stereotypical thing to do is to use them around the holidays as those recipe jars. And although I think those are cool, the way I actually tend to use them all year round is by gifting them as vases. I'll keep really uniquely shaped ones or those plain mason jars and cut my stems down to size so that they fit nicely in the jar. The reason why I like doing this even more than going and thrifting a vase for a gift is because 1, it just levels up the flowers in general, but 2, I know that when I get gifted too many vases, I just don't know what to do with them. Sometimes I think we get to a point where we're just passing vases between each other and maybe nobody really wants them. And what's nice about the jars is that they do have lids. You can use them for other purposes, or they could just recycle them if they didn't have the room in their house and they didn't want the clutter. And I am all about reducing clutter in people's lives. I think it does wonders for our mental health. Okay, number 10, I'm just being honest with you here. There have been so many times in the past 2 years, especially during the holidays where we're going from house to house for all kinds of different parties. I'm kind of picky when it comes to my drinks, and I like the way that I make my drinks. And I seriously will prep a little bit of something in a jar and use it as a travel cocktail shaker. I mean, why not? Then when I get there, I just throw in some ice and shake it up. I've also brought it whenever I'm not pre-prepping cocktails to any kind of outdoor event where I just don't want to bring my nicer cocktail shaker because I'm very fond of my cocktail shaker. I don't really let it leave my house. But honestly, besides using it as a coffee cup, this is one of my favorite ways to use my jars. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. And I would love to know, what are some creative ways that you tend to use the jars in your collection, big or small? I don't care. I want to know it all. Like, let's do this. What are your top 3 ways that you most often use your jars for? But other than that, I'll see you next time. Okay, love you. Bye.